right, family. Got us a little overtime after the Zoom call. Let's see. Let's get you in here, brother. All right. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? That was a good Zoom. Hope you guys are thinking about becoming students and getting into that Patreon, family. So, got a lot of great things going on. A lot of people making it happen, man. Truthfully. Understanding that administrative process. Getting that paperwork in order. It's a beautiful thing. Good. Doing well, family. Doing well. So hopefully you guys have been liking the videos lately. Hopefully they're informative and you guys are able to utilize them for whatever it is that you're needing. Let's see. So anybody got any questions? Anything going on? Like as far as with the content that you guys see on the page? Evening, family. Evening. Ascendancy Academy. All right now. I like that. All right. I want to get into like a little study time with you guys, but I'm telling you, my brain is fried. I say my students and my partner, man, we really put it on them today. We were in a class for about 4 hours, kicking the knowledge. And it looks like we're getting some great breakthroughs. People understanding how to write affidavits, as far as how to construct them. Really getting the concept down about what's the principle. Like, what is a principal? Who's the principal? What's the beneficiary? Who's the beneficiary? Trustees and grantors. Like, when you're dealing in this realm, this is just how it goes. You got to know the verbiage because they use it against you so much every day, Amen. See if we can get Brother Sam in. Let's start rocking it out, family. You guys can share the live, hit the like button, throw them hearts up there, and I appreciate all the love you already shown. What's going on, Sam? You in there?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm present.
Oh, there he is. Man of the hour. What's going on, brother?
Another day. Another fine day for commerce, for civic performance, and engagement of the soul in heaven, because we are all existing in our bodies, our dimensions, freely enjoying the shared space platform.
Let's do it, brother. Let's do it. So this private enjoyment thing, I really feel like we should kick that a little bit to the people.
Private enjoyment, that is an expression of your legal personality. Saying it easily, learning from conquest, learning from the great conquest of the ancient world. One of note for everything that operates from the Western Hemisphere is Rome. So we know what the conquerors did, what they thought of your legal personality, of the elements of expression. Your first civic duty to yourself and to your people, those that you regard as family and as political allies, is to establish whether you are free or slave. If you are free, you have a civic duty to express yourself, to defend your freedom and your honor. If you're a slave, you get the privilege of existing. You get the privilege of working for your wage, which is shelter and food, and sometimes abuse, and a lack thereof of food and shelter. So you get the substitute.
Between that 9 and that 5 right there.
Yes. If you are free and you express your legal personality, you have private rights of enjoyment, quiet, tranquility, solace. You can build off of your reserve, You can do commerce freely, unhindered. You can pay your tithes, your energy being shared for the political good, for your private good as well, because you exist in dual spheres.
Facts.
Mhm.
Should do.
Yep.
So, how do you view the principle? What
Uh,
is a principle? We're not in school anymore, so why would that be a thing?
Principles for every agency relationship, there is always a principle. If you look at how corpos, meaning corporations, do business, they have a principle. Who is the CEO? Or, said differently, who is the owner who benefits from that corporation making money? Who is the head dog or head person? I don't want to say dog, because I'm not denigrating anyone. Who is the head person, natural person?
Oh, sounds like me.
That is you. Because with respect to a principle, that's a piece of paper. A piece of paper, yeah, a piece of paper cannot speak on its own behalf.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, who can speak for this piece of paper?
Natural beings, persons who are elected or authorized by security agreement to engage in commerce on the behalf of the principle of the paper. That is true in commerce. It is true in public service as well, because there is a commercial oath, affidavit sworn on the indenture of someone's word, their honor, to
Mm-hmm.
serve their peers, to serve in commerce that public vehicle. And the penalty, their bond, which has a monetary value. All bonds are monetary in value because they both have a security interest for performance and a monetary value for penalty if that performance doesn't match up to that code of conduct.
Got you. So, if I had a, how can I say this? If I were in dispute with the company and I'm sending things back and forth, my resolution could be the bond of that particular fiduciary at that particular company, right?
Yes, in order to access a bond, there must be a security agreement that is in accord with the rules of regularity and custom, which is Uniform Commercial Code. So if you know that, you read that, you understand who you are, how you're operating in commerce as an agent in commerce, you can access that bond by acceptance. You accept the rights that are attached to that bond and promise it or hypothecate it towards any injury that is the penalty for incorrect or non-conforming performance, because they have a rule or a duty under their standard of care to operate in agreement with your instructions, which is, saying it easily, simply, anything that you speak, express, that energy that you give to say, hey, this is the problem, this is the resolution, this is how I see it fit to have it resolved in your capacity. If you do not, this is the penalty, this is the hypothecation in this
Mm-hmm.
type of manner.
Okay, so I would need to be a secured party creditor to handle any affair in this manner, correct?
Nope, it's just understanding the rules of regularity and conformity. But in order to demonstrate it, you must be competent. And to be competent, you must be what? Well versed in the language of contracts and understand what you are pledging. Because everything is simple contracts. And if it's not a contract that you're beholden to, it's commercial paper. And commercial paper is instruments. Instruments having what? Rights attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. I
Yes, sir.
got you.
Thank you for the engagement, everyone. Get the likes up if you're coming in. We'll continue
Definitely
to
appreciate it.
talk and to engage. Thank you for the donations, your little pledges of energy. We appreciate your attention.
Tremendously, tremendously. If you guys have any questions about consumer law, about the administrative process, having the ability to um, have this situation work out in your favor, like, well, how could it work out in their favor? Take question: how to get my job, stop child support thievery. I am SPC. What do you think about that bottom question? Is this something you want to tackle? Or would that be a
Nope.
consult?
That's definitely a consultation. That's private because that's getting into private affairs. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can pledge some energy, and we can deal with that privately. But I would say the essence of that is, if you are in that position, you have rights. You have a right of set off or recoupment, whether that's common law or equity, and you have to distinguish those instructions to the appropriate fiduciaries for a resolution. So if you haven't done that already, one way to clarify that, to prove it, to solidify it, is giving them the rights, the authority to pull from that, because they don't have authority to do business on your behalf unless you've given it to them.
I haven't stated otherwise.
If you give them a problem, you must give them a solution, saying that or simplifying that. So if you haven't appropriately authorized that, how can they act on your benefit? They automatically can deem themselves a defense of impracticability, meaning that they can't observe the actions that you've put upon them because it's outside of their function.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So I got another question. Does an administrative process get you out of a probation sentence?
Ooh, that is another private consultation, but understanding the science, and I notice I said science, that means that it can be replicated. Understand the science of what I'm talking about, what the substance is of commerce and civic duty. Because again, this isn't just a blanket statement. There is some energy that must be paid to this as an expense.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
Definitely.
receive the resolution that you're seeking.
So for the people who may not understand resolution, can you break down that particular term?
Resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's look at the substrate. So, what is the root of that? Re and solution.
Looks like a solution.
Okay, so what is a solution? It's a answer, an answer to a problem. What was that problem in regards to the root,
Mm-hmm. So
a
root,
remedy? Exactly.
Mm-hmm. There you
You're
go, family.
reasserting a problem with a what? An answer to the problem. That's how I'm gonna simplify it for you. There was
Got you.
already a problem. It already existed before
Mm-hmm.
you brought it to someone's attention, but you are providing that remedy. You're providing rights to get an outcome, an intended outcome. That is equity. That is the essence of equity. Fair dealing. There was a wrong or a harm, or to prevent a wrong or harm, you have given terms, special terms that prevent further action outside of your conduct, the request that you've made in writing.
Mm-hmm. So that request that's made in writing for resolution means that we can create our own solutions. We have our own answers to what we believe we are owed if we're trying to correct something that we want corrected, right?
Yes, but it must conform with what? Regularity and custom. So you can
Oh,
make a demand, but you must provide the remedy with that respect for that demand, because everything is in essence one way because of commerce. So if there's a commercial value, you must know what is required to dispense of a problem, of an obligation. Just like you can be penalized for incompetence, you can be doubly penalized for incompetence when you provide resolutions that are not actionable. So now you forfeited time and energy and potentially get extorted for more credit. And that's not what you're seeking.
not what you're thinking. So let's speak about regularity and custom, because I know a lot of them are probably like, "What's that? What is regularity and custom?"
Well, the essence of regularity and custom is honor. Honor and dishonor. Those are the two pillars, the duality that you exist in with regard for commerce, with regard for politics, the law of nations, with regard for even spiritual canon, which is saying that you are doing the work of deity or the work of nature. How do you reconcile harms done? How do you resolve the eye for an eye distinction? What exists above that law of conquest?
Hmm. Tell me, brother.
Providence. So what is your gift from providence? What is your gift from nature? The ability to reason. Your
Mm-hmm.
comprehension of your problem can be reasoned out of, can be reasoned by explanation. Because once you understand the problem, you can create a plan and
Mm-hmm.
resolve the matter without bloodshed. Because that's what we are doing. You are engaged in a type of warfare in commerce, and you are looking to stake your claim. You are looking to cede not land, not air, but the sea. You are parting the sea.
Mm. Sounds like maritime law to me.
Yes, you are parting the sea in personam, meaning that you have established equity to reclaim or revest in your affairs, your estate. So everything revolves or descends from the descendant estate, regardless of if you're in Canada or the U.S. of A continental or the, you know, distant regions of, I don't want to say Timbuktu, Paraguay,
Paraguay. Mm-hmm.
anywhere on the landscape. That is the international custom. So when I say international custom and regularity, I'm talking about unwritten laws. That is the common law. That is what is preserved by tradition, honor, and dishonor. Doing what you say, saying what you mean, word being bond, bond having value, value assuring payment or performance or protection of rights, guarantee of remedy, remedy being rights. See that revolving statement. I can talk around either side of it because I understand it. And the
Yes,
basis of
sir.
that is expression.
An
So
expression.
to effectively get anything, you must first understand the position that you are in. What ground are you standing upon? If you're not on ground, are you in the air? If you're not on the air, or in the air, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
are you on the sea?
Got you. So let's say I send an affidavit, right?
Yes.
And I have a resolution. What would constitute a breach of duty if they were to not act on what it is that I am trying to get my reason out of?
Any non-conforming or non-performance, meaning you give instructions, I say apply this formula, Pythagorean theorem, and they say, you know what, we don't understand the Pythagorean theorem. We're going to apply the law of conquest and just extort you. We're going to be pirates in commerce and extort you for more credit and not give you equity. We're not going to be fair.
Mm-hmm. So that will constitute a breach of duty.
That is
Therefore,
breach. That is piracy, which is the highest crime actionable under the supreme law of the land or of a land, continental, with respect to U.S. of A.
mm-hmm. And that's where your administrative process will come into play, and you will know what round two would look like for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to do what? We have to stay on what it is that we initiate.
Mm-hmm.
So just like if you're pushing a ball down a hill, let's just say that's your affidavit. I'm pushing this ball down the hill. It's going to keep going no matter what, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they try to stop it, I can still go back behind that ball with the next round, push it a little bit harder to keep it going to where I want it to go, correct?
Yes, you want to be congruent. You want to meet the requisite of that Pythagorean theorem. You are consistent with your algebra. You know what the input and the output will be. You get that determined quantity, or you quantify that outcome by knowing what your input is. And the
Mm-hmm.
application is the mediation point. That is what resolves the books. That is the balancing of ledgers, because there is a positive input and there is a negative output. Negative output is relative to application.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's changing hands. That's liability. Someone doesn't like that liability. What do they do with somebody who doesn't know any better? They let them hold the bag. They offer it as a gift, or they
Mm.
accept the gift from you, and then they gift you in return with the liability.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
I like that, man. I like that. Look and see what else we got here. I'm not seeing too many questions. I'll just asking what's the next step. Pertaining to what exactly?
It's being clear. If you know the Pythagorean theorem, you've applied it. You know that there was a claim that was made, and you've mediated that claim by asking or directing them for resolution. Enforcement is the necessary and proper execution, because that's equity.
Mm-hmm.
If I was for entertainment profession, not entertainment, for entertainment
Purpose.
purpose only, someone in the business of dispossessing someone of property, I'm out here intentionally doing business a certain way. I at least got to have a regard for how things work. So if I'm doing that and I'm currently not operating with regard for the operation of the law, I have to protect what I'm doing. The necessary and proper thing with that, if I know that my outcome is automatically to be a pirate, I would know or need to know what we talked about earlier, that I have a security interest that has been expressed in said property, because it is illegal to be a pirate. It is illegal by the law of nations, by the customs, by public policy, to dispossess anyone, whether that be a home or a car or an account or a utility. No, we don't like to be pirates. We have to know what pirates do to
Keep us.
protect ourselves, to safeguard our treasures, and to get
Mm.
that post limine, get that protection by other nations or other more powerful allies adjacent to us or coexisting with us. I don't know, corpos that have
Yep.
bigger, far reaching resources to protect our real living beings. That's what we're doing. So it's
Mm-hmm.
much deeper than just assuming a role of honor. You're already in honor when you take action, when you accept your position.
Gotcha. In most of our positions, as you I have a video on my page that speaks about the beneficiary. That's one position you can play. To me, I feel like that's the most protected role, especially for those who are just starting off, to understand that position as well as you can, because that is what the contributing heir to the principal.
Yes,
So
that
understanding the
really.
roles is important. They're playing chess with you, and you need to know what piece you are on that board. Okay.
Yes.
I said, "Where's class? I'm still way behind." Um, Class is in the link in my bio. And you want to become a gold member, and we do live classes. We just finished one, and we have the recordings of all of our previous classes, so you can catch all the way up. We have a village you can learn with. Very easy to come and be a part of what we have going on. The other one is, can we do a conditional acceptance letter? Of course, you can do it as long as you're able to execute and have your resolution in there, and you just need to know what you're doing with it,
Is is
especially
a
in court.
is a conditional acceptance enough to resolve your obligation?
No, I mean it can be. It definitely can be if it's honored. Um, I just like for those that we walk with to understand that they may not always honor it because you've been doing what for so long? You've been conforming.
Hmm?
You've been conforming
Conforming
to the
meaning
piracy.
conforming meaning what? You've been volunteering or pledging your treasure, your
Mm-hmm.
energy. You're giving all this good, positive energy out, and really not receiving much in return. Why? Because you're volunteering it. That means that you're not worthy of being paid your wages, your due. for your credit, your profit. You don't receive profit if you don't what? Assess your work. What is the first work that you engage in commerce to generate anything? It's contracts. And if it's not contracts, it's commercial paper. So it's knowing the distinction between the two and properly administering yourself so you can act both in common law respects and in equity. Common law meaning that you meet the covenants that you've subscribed to, you act in honor, remain in honor, and commercial paper knowing your responsibility to assess, value, and attribute or pledge rights.
Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing questions in here, and what's ringing a bell here to me is judicial proceedings. So, what would you classify as a judicial proceeding?
Well, if I've read the rules of regularity and custom, a judicial proceeding is action, any action where rights are expressed.
Mm-hmm. So, how would one express rights? Is that in a signature, or is that to reserve rights?
Two different distinctions. You can express rights with a signature when it's provided with instructions. A blanket endorsement is not asserting rights.
So, what would be a blanket endorsement for those
Blanket
who may not be well versed in it?
blanket endorsement. I
Mm-hmm.
assume full liability. I am in accord with what is stated. I have nothing to add to a matter of controversy. Or if it's not a matter of controversy, I am conforming to. What's that? One second.
Got you. Handle your business.
My lights just went out. One second.
I got you. He must be talking too much truth over there if the light's going off. But pretty much a blanket endorsement is, let's say you have a contract and you sign the contract, just basic cursive. You just sign a contract and you don't have any instructions with your contract. Like, you haven't reserved your rights or you haven't put forth anything towards it. You literally just signed something and pledged it for the other party to do with it what they will, what thy will with your instrument that you just pledged your signature over to. If you don't reserve your rights, how can you truthfully assert any, with the instrument that's being pledged, not with the agreement or obligation that comes out of it, but with the instrument that's being pledged for entertainment purposes only, is getting pledged for a value that they will receive and that they will keep. They will enjoy the equity that you gave them with a blanket endorsement. You may not
And
want to do blanket endorsements anymore if you are trying to, how do I say this, assert your position in these quote unquote contracts. What do you think, Sam?
I
Sound
agree.
clear enough?
I mean, the first aspect of proper conformity and regularity is expression. And if you're not expressing it in words, you're expressing it by implication. Implication is always received by conduct. If you conduct yourself properly, you receive full immunity, protection, value, benefit. You can't get that if you are not dealing in your full capacity. So you don't get
Mm-hmm.
what you do not defend or express. That's the main basis of personality, legal personality, and why I always go back to that duality between freedom and slavery. Slavery is a concession to force, external or internal. The force or the um, low esteem that you have for yourself, for your energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. It says, can you clearly tell me how to obtain a letter of credit from my truth? I'm guessing my trust.
How do you do that? you've you've been doing it already. If you are paying bills, you've been doing it already.
Mm-hmm.
All of that free energy that you've just dispensed out into this world, that is getting calculated as the GDP against certain countries.
That is crazy. And that is
Yep.
going on all day long. And
In
those
mass.
in mass. And you're not even putting an endorsement on those things. They're just unclaimed property.
Yes. Abandoned property, more specifically.
Abandoned property.
But
Right?
if you're in the know and you're competent, it's lost. Lost meaning that you know it has value. You haven't foregone ownership. You just misplaced it. Misplaced it.
Misplaced it. And someone else can take it. They took the pledge and now they get to take the interest. There's quickly remittance coupons. That's that's your interest payments, family.
That they are blanket, entertainment, educational, informational, reasoning only. This is pure rhetoric. Rhetoric. We'll say that's what it is right now.
Exactly.
'Cause
Okay, yep, yes, it will. It says which countries IK TikTok gonna block speaking code if you can. No worries. We're doing our best to do so. They're talking about entertainment. Trying to protect us.
Yep.
I appreciate it, family. I sincerely do. If you guys don't mind pressing that, hitting that like button a few times so we can get some more people in here so they can get a little more knowledge. That's really what we come on here for. After we teach our classes, we want to keep the knowledge going, keep it flowing, so that we can encourage more. How can I say this? Unfulfilled souls get fulfilled as much as possible. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Because that blanket endorsement thing was definitely something that needs to be touched on. So this abandoned property that we're speaking on, is there a way to claim it? Is there a process?
Yes. There are many, both administrative and legislative. See the distinction? Administrative and legislative
Mm-hmm.
means of taking action. But the first action is always expression, because that is the ability to have that congruence both in equity and in what? Operation of law, which is common law, unwritten and written law. Congruence. You want to stand on square footing.
Mm-hmm. It says, why is cursive a curse?
Cursive is a curse for various reasons. If you want to look at the history behind everything that arises from occultism, occultism meaning the practice of certain arts for certain purposes, cursive being a preservation of a specific natural art, which is the form of symbolism. You provide symbolism to do what? To teach, to instruct, to inform, to cultivate what? Natural forces, natural energy. So if we're replicating our signage in cursive, we are assuming a certain aspect of nature, generation, the generative power of nature. So it's congruence. I could do a whole lecture on that, but there's overlap. Hope that simplified it for you.
Got you. So, would an autograph suffice over a cursive endorsement?
Absolutely. Because cursive, you're
I feel like it's a
you're doing,
hindrance.
yes, you are hindering a certain personality. You're hindering your principle. You're anchoring it in a seaport. You are saying that it is moored, that it is hitched or married. It's wed with another estate. In this case, a corporate estate or political estate, meaning government, for an intended purpose or until such time as the principal is competent to separate the two.
And that generally comes with an autograph family with a proper sign of nature, reserving your rights.
Yep. Because you're reserving your patent right, believe it or not. Patent is copyright. It is freeborn, inborn in your nature, and it is recognized through different unwritten laws, practice. There's none like yours. But first and foremost, it's properly denoting that and knowing how to autograph. So if you're autographing in cursive, you're not autographing. If you're autographing without your family name distinguished from your natural living name, which may be in two parts, if you have what is commonly referred to as a middle name, it's not your middle name. If you're autographing, it is your second natural name.
Mm-hmm. So with individuals such as myself that has, I'm a fourth generation out of my family name from my given name. Does that take me out of an autograph?
No, it does not. You still have that distinction. Your family is first. The meek of the earth. The last shall be first. First shall be last. Your family, your generation is what always precedes your expression on this earth or on the realm that we are operating through. And it must be congruent in the law of the sea as well. So if you haven't distinguished that, again, you are operating as a corporate entity, disregarded entity, which must do certain things. It must meet the requisites of its privileges, which is strict rules for conduct.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know any better. We
Your
don't want you to harm
subservience.
yourself. That's how others think of you in that standing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what is your first name? It's literally your first name. The name that people probably are calling you when you have a job, they're gonna call you by that first name. If you're in the military, they usually call you by your family name. That's crazy how they did that.
Yeah.
I used to just always think, like, why are you calling me by that name? Oh, you mean the family name? You mean the one that has standing and rank?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably why.
That's what it is, for uniformity.
Mm-hmm. It says change status first. That's completely up to you. It's unnecessary for what it is that I know most of you guys are trying to do. However, if you understand what you're doing it for, you can move that way. Um, we don't teach that. We learned all about it, believe me, in and out. Um, however, for me, I'll just speak for myself. Um, that didn't generate remedy for me, or resolution, I should say, because there was no practice of me applying what I needed to express from the living man. All that it is just a bunch of paperwork showing that, to me, for entertainment purposes only, that you are willing to go against the system that created what it is that you are supposed to benefit from. So, in essence, it shows you that you are, how can I say this without sounding so negligent? To me, they're going to look at you as if, okay, you're opposing us moving this way. And if you're moving in honor, you don't want to move in opposition, especially if you're trying to get remedy from them. So if you want to get remedy from them, why would you oppose them? You're supposed to get resolution from them. You can't get resolution from them if you're opposing them. You're already contradicting the whole process. But you
Mm-hmm.
still want to live on the land and you still want to benefit with what? Privileges? You can't create your own privileges. You hold
Unless
no
you're
weight.
what? Unless you're sovereign, not a sovereign citizen. Notice I didn't add that on there. Sovereign. But again, sovereign works under what? Nations, the law of nations. So if you're not operating as your own nation, you will not see that benefit. And it will be a much tougher time if you are little old you, one among many. Because what do other forces have? Again, you're on the sea. You have to think about this not only biblically, but you have to think about this beyond the scope of that historically. Seamanship. You're out there doing commerce. You're doing right by everyone you come across, but you still will come across predators, individuals who don't want to work, who don't want to do what they know they ought to be doing. And they are going to physically try to compel you by force, by conquest. How do you protect yourself? How do you protect your precious cargo, the treasures that you have, the energy that you have? By having the right armament. You go from a position of being prey and being a worthy warrior, sea vessel, warship, by having the right level of understanding of what you are with respect to your artillery, which is said differently, who you are determines your value. And if you don't value yourself, how can you quantify or sustain any outside engagement? You're not going to be able to ward off the advances of others if you don't know what you already possess. That's as far as power. And your first two natural powers comes from your competency. We fight and we deter predators with competency, not with conflict. Conflict invites controversy. Competency resolves, clears the board.
Clears the board.
You
How
are
can
no
you get in your class? The link is in the bio, family. It's in the bio. If you want to become a gold student, you have access to all the classes that we've done this month. We started, no, it was last month, like mid last month. We just started this, so the best time to get on board will be now because we are closing it soon because we want to keep the village solid. Okay, so I said, do you give class for the methods? Yes,
yes.
definitely do. That's
But
primarily what we do.
the reason we do it privately is, guess what? If you didn't understand it, we all have a private responsibility to ourselves or to a principle, something that exists on paper, to make a decision how we will settle our affairs. Can I do this on a public utility? Yes, we could, but there may be interference. There may be individuals or powers, what have you, that would not agree with application, good, bad, or indifferent. It's not saying that everybody is the man or big and bad. It's just demystifying certain aspects of application, because you shouldn't run and do really and truthfully anything that is demonstrated to you over the internet without sound mindsets, sound understanding, comprehension of what it is you are replicating. Not just doing it for nothing, not just telling you to run out and play with any instruments of commercial value. It's understanding what rights you have and establishing that congruence, applying that theorem that's already present by operation of law. Since you haven't been a party to it because you haven't been competent. So if you want to understand the method, you have to be competent first. I'm not giving you templates. We don't teach templates, but it's a private affair because there is a liability. We can do that privately because we have the equity of what? Being our own caretakers. We can assume that risk in good faith that you'll return the equity and be competent and safeguard yourself, your valuable energy, time, body, by understanding it before you implement it. Because if you're just doing stuff, obviously, you have no warranty. And you may become the surety. You may be the guarantee for punishment, for penalty, if you're not acting in accord with regularity and custom. Because we're not asking anybody to break regularity and custom. We want you to understand how it applies to you or may apply to you in your situation. That is what we teach. That's how we operate. How much and how long is the class? That is a pledge of your energy, your time. Right now, it's not very costly. It's 250 of currency if you want to participate in that way. It's not about the money for us. That's obviously why we're not preaching or pressing for any kinds of donations. It is simply for you to quantify the energy that you're giving to let us know that you're serious about what we're talking about privately.
Most definitely. Because I'm pretty sure you guys know how much other ones could cost. We keep it fairly low for the simple fact that we want to give you guys the information. We do practice what we preach, and if it's something that you guys do want to move on within your life, we're here to help for the moment. And we have other things that we're definitely going to be doing soon. So take advantage and become a part of the village, and hopefully you guys grow what it is that we're starting. Let's see what other ones we got. Thank you for your content, putting it out. Greatly appreciate your knowledge you're giving. No worries, brother. I learned from this man right here. Well, him, I wouldn't even be putting the stuff out the way that I have with the confidence that I have. What does it say? So a speeding ticket I received when I was traveling private, not doing commerce. How do I beat fines? I hate to sound repetitive, but definitely gonna want to come to class. But your administrative process is what's gonna get you out of, for entertainment purposes only. The administrative process is what's gonna get you where you need to be. It gets you into what you want to be into, get you out of what you want to get out of, because it's just you expressing whatever offer is rendered. So if you received an offer, I hope you reserve your rights on that offer, because you reserving your rights on that offer, point blank and period, lets them know where they need to pledge that instrument, which is right up their rectum. Excuse my French, but all in all, when you know your rights and you reserve them, you can apply them, with or without instruction if you desire. So, and that comes with competency. Me personally, Brother Sam, I feel like I'm always going to give instruction because I don't want anything to be non-conspicuous. I want it to be conspicuous. I want you to know what I'm talking about. I want you to know where I want to put it. If it's up your rectum, it's up your rectum. If I want you to cash it, I want you to cash it, and you render me the interest. It's how you want to apply these things, because you are the one you're the beneficial heir of your vessel. And I love understanding, or coming into the understanding of what a beneficiary actually is. You ever see the trust fund babies move around? That's you. And once you understand this, once you get this particular part down, it's not much that you can't do in commerce. It's not much that you can't do in getting into contracts. It's not much you can't do when you want to go, on the private banking side. And that doesn't come just because you want it. You have to grow in the knowledge, and you have to have a base. You have to have a foundation. And that foundation is going to come with you having the village of people around you, or you just being strong and stern enough to always stay in the books, always stay learning. As you can see, I post videos maybe once, twice a day about things that are pouring out of my spirit, So you're going to get to a point to where it's overwhelming to keep it in. And that's why I'm putting so much of it out, because the balance and the honor within me has to give it up. Like I can't hide this stuff. Not because it's not necessarily fair. It's just not truthful to hoard this kind of stuff and just stun around. That's not being my brother's keeper. Moving in equity means you're moving in equity. No, said what state are y'all from? Well, I'm from Texas. I see Charlene watching from Cali. What's going on? That's actually where Sam's from. He's from Cali. I just seen your video on the birth certificate. Want to know more? Okay. No problem. Texas here too. All right now. Just as far as the birth certificate, the basic thing that I was trying to put out is what's on the birth certificate. The fact that I want you to know that it has value and that you're a party to it and you're a beneficiary of it. It's not necessarily for you guys to go onto the private banking side, although I wanted you to know that it was there. But that is college level consumer law, consumer banking. I'm not even gonna say consumer law. That's banking. And
It's actually beyond consumer because you're not acting as a consumer in that aspect. You're acting as a merchant. So
mhm,
distinguishing that, apprentice level is going to be consumer, operating purely as a consumer for the beneficiary interest. Outside of that, for higher level banking practices, you have to understand what banks are required to do. What is a financial institution bound by? How do they generate these high credit interests that they give to you? And what is their responsibility to that? Because there is a liability to it. So it's demystifying that it's not just I'm freely exercising a whole bunch of energy or credit without a responsibility to maintain that accounting and potentially do an assessment. So there's two distinctions. If it's with a public utility, there's always going to be a liability attached to it. If it's private, truly, truly private, you're operating in a different capacity. So demystifying that and knowing the difference between the two. But
mhm,
you have a responsibility to know which you are using and to safeguard yourself by properly implementing things, not just sending stuff out and potentially harming yourself with incompetence. So that's not what we advocate for. That's why we don't tell you to go run out and send stuff off or sign stuff a different way unless you understand why you're operating in a different way. Your intention of operating differently means that you are being bound by your conduct. You are no longer that ward of the estate, not in a position to be considered incompetent or incapable of handling your affairs. You are standing on your own as a private person and saying, I am responsible. I am a man. I am a woman. I am what nature intended me to be. Not with respect to just physicality. I'm talking about your reasoning ability, your comprehension of what is going on around you.
mhm. Says I'm trying to find all forms to file in order to gain access. I'm guessing to my trust and become a private man. You already are that. You don't even need the forms to become anything you already are. You move in a private capacity because it's not in the public. I'm telling you guys, an administrative process is a beast. All of these other things that you guys are seeing, it's not necessary. It's not necessary at all. You are already capable. If you can read, you are capable. If you can comprehend, you are more capable. And if you can actually express, you're the most capable.
Yep.
That's a most high expression. What is most high? That from which you already come from. When you go to sleep, you're back there. So you come back to this vessel to do what? To love, learn, comprehend. You do these things, then you already have everything that you need. And give Caesar back everything so that you may get yours back tenfold. Okay? These things that you were given at birth are to be enjoyed. They're to be respected. They are to be learned so that you can apply them. Okay? Because if you don't, they're going to do what they've been doing. And you're going to think you need to do all kinds of things to protect yourself from what? It's all paper. You want paper to protect paper, or do you want your mind to protect you? Okay? Let's look at it that way. Because you don't need all of these things that you think that you do. You really don't.
It's nice. It's standing upon what you've extinguished. Because 9/10 of the law is what?
What's the, I'm gonna need you to tell me that one.
9/10 of it. There's always that rule or that saying. There's maxims that express truth. So simplifying it, if 9/10 of the law is commercial, it exists on paper or on fiction, then the final tenth is what? Yes, possession meaning what? Who holds the paper, which is a bailment. The
Those are
last tenth,
smart
the
brothers right
last
there.
part that solidifies everything is honor. Are you acting honorably or dishonorably? Because that is a trust action at that point. Who possesses it? A bailee, a trustee. Who gives it? Who gives possession? Who endorses for the benefit of someone else? You do. Understanding that, seeing that, that is how you comprehend and put these things together, because it's not meant to be complex. You're already operating under this anyway. It's just you're foregoing a lot of energy by improper enforcement or mishandling your affairs by, I don't want to say mishandling, I got to correct myself with that. You are accepting a lesser position with respect to obligations. You can choose it. You can faithfully choose to do that. I'm not knocking anyone who wants to be a honor bound individual and concede to conquest. That's your choosing, by all means. But that's closer to slavery than to freedom. Freedom is respect for yourself and for your dignity. And free personalities, personas, they exist in real time. Everything else is what? Past tense. That is bond, because it covers past actions and future liabilities. So our bonds, our words, our covenants. That is the security.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So when we're talking about bailment, bailee, bailor, is the principal a part of that at all?
Yes, there's always a party to it. If you have a, oh, I'm not going to drop that big M word over here, but if I got a house in a conventional way, I have an M. If I have an M, I've demonstrated a bailment. If you know what a bailment is, you can understand what that M is. You have a responsibility to yourself now, if you're hearing this, to research. If you research that, you see the regularity and conformity that comes from uniform code, or comes from admiralty, maritime jurisdiction, or comes from equity, whatever preceding jurisdiction that you want to look at it from, it's still the same congruence. It still has to match up. For every remedy or penalty, there must be a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand that, you understand what's pledged, what's the security, what's the assurance of payment. You can access it, or instead of accessing it, apply it to a principal balance. Apply it to a obligation. Tender it for full performance and discharge.
These terms will become extremely regular to you guys soon. Like every term that he just hit you with right there, study those. Study those. And you'll start to get the linguistics of how they like to play with all of us in the beginning. Really, you're just happy to get into a house and 9 to 5 your life away for 30 years to potentially pay something off that you may or may not even get the proper deed back with. So,
Oh, you'll never get it back from someone else. You create the deed, but that's private teaching. That's nothing public about that, because public is what? Privilege. Public is privilege.
public is privilege. So hopefully you guys are picking up what he's putting down. Now I'm here to help give the power back, homie. I believe it, brother. All right now. Learn it, understand it, and then, put it out there to the people as much as you can. As much as you can. I haven't seen many doing this when I was coming through. I've seen them selling processes, but to break down what is, I never really ran across it. So we're putting it down as much as we can. So I hope you guys are enjoying it and learning more than enjoying, because we're not trying to entertain you or entertain you. What's going on? All right, now I see Texas in there. That's exactly where I'm at. I've been reading the Bill of Exchange and Federal Reserve Act 16 section and 29 section. Dive in.
Important. It's understanding how that applies to you. If we know that subrogation is fully in effect, I'm going to repeat that again for you so you can take your notes, know some vocabulary that sticks out, that is strange, may not be in your usual demonstration of language, subrogation, we know that there is a replacement or a substitution that is occurring with regards to anything that is being energized on the credit side. And if we know who's fronting the bill, then we know how to perform on behalf of that transaction. We know why they're trying to get our attention so much, why they want our help, because they operate off of what? Your energy. How do you give your energy? To a political entity.
Mm-hmm.
It exists on paper. We talked about possession. You give it appropriately by instruction. You give it, I don't want to say inappropriately, but you give it in a conventional manner by blanket endorsement, which means that you are volunteering all of that good, powerful energy with no intention of seeing a return. That's still good faith, but you get what you get and you don't have a fit at that point. You are not owed any profit, any proceeds, any equity in those kind of matters, because you are pledging yourself in a lower standing with respect to that conflict or claim.
A standing in any matter is paramount. It is paramount. If you don't know what your standing is in any matter, you're causing controversy. And you know what they do with people when they cause controversy? They railroad them. They make an example out of you, seriously. And that's a W on their books, and that's more energy placed to their pocket against your will, against thy will.
That is one tactic, one fear operation that comes from just misunderstanding things or putting things in the wrong context.
Mm-hmm.
Any private questions can be applied through consultation or messages. Alvin's a lot more public, so he receives direct messages, but I'm willing to confer some time and energy to those that ask me things directly. Some things take more depth, so I will not type it out on a public setting. I will personally have to call you for that, and that's something I do at my leisure. So just be patient, understand. We also have other things we like to enjoy. There's another.
Okay, now here, how can I find the value of my birth certificate? Well, I have videos on there. Check out the one with the yellow book, and it'll kind of take you through there. They may have updated some things and changed some things around, but that gives you pretty much the overview of where to start. That's if you just want to find the value. For what purpose, that's entirely up to you. So when you get into the private banking, and we only do that with our students. Just because we're not, that's not nothing I can just put out there, guys. I'm sure you understand. But it's just something I wanted to spark the brain. Just spark the brain and understand what you have. If you have that, you have many other things, and there's many other processes that you could be using without trying to run to the bag that you are not competent to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect at all, but it's just that's how I was spoken to.
Yeah.
Can you speak on the W4 sandwich? It's actually like a lot of videos about that out there on YouTube in depth, actually. If you just want to do the process, but just know you'll be waiting for a long time for anything to come back from that.
Can be up to 5 years for that, because that is typically when something happens. Does it always take that long? No. With proper instructions, you can have most anything. You don't actually need to use another agency to do that, because again, you have agency within yourself if you respect yourself. If you know that your standing is more powerful than any other external artificial entity. But that's just the regard you have for yourself. It's not just philosophical, it's actually actionable. There's case law behind it. If you want case law, you have to become a student to know what I study, what I research in that regard, because that came from my time and energy.
And, you guys can all do this, man. You really can if you just really buckle down and study for sure. But I mean, if you are really just trying to get to it, you're excited about it, it is in your spirit, why not just take the pledge and get the knowledge and take off, man? How can I get my bag?
Oh,
Well, you already have it, man. You just gotta, man, you just gotta use the process. You gotta express it. You have to know how to express it. 'Cause I can tell you where to go to get it, but they're not gonna let you have anything if you can't express it. You want to express it, and we love you. I swear I do. But I'm telling you, they way, way, way worse than that. They'll give you the bag and take all your money. They'll give you the bag. They're gonna keep your money.
yeah,
That's in it.
yeah. You
Pay for
you
it.
you are technically you are not it, because if it comes under attack, are you the vessel or are you the captain? Are you the master?
Using existing laws to keep my standing over courts and express myself to gain the bag. In essence, yes.
One distinction, because if you were to cash out in one aspect, who will defend it? Who will defend you if something should happen?
You have to unlearn to relearn with this journey. That is correct.
Yep.
That is correct. I just try to put the good knowledge around you guys on the TikTok. If you just go through it, like it's good knowledge. However, with the process, this is where it can be applied properly. Just got the judgment back yesterday. I represented myself in the case and won. All right, Ashley.
Yep.
Ashley. Ashley. Go ahead. Congratulations, y'all. Y'all show her some love for that one.
That's exciting, honestly. That's
I really-
demonstrating your honor and standing on your square. That is everything with regards to any commercial matter, regardless of who you're dealing with, public or private, real other natural people. You want to remain
Mhm.
in honor. So, by virtue of her acts, she saw success. Salute everybody who is doing that, doing it correctly, adequately, fulfilling themselves, giving them permission, giving yourself permission.
Mhm.
Does it work for? Yes, we are all real natural people. That is
Come
not
on.
not restrictive at all. That is,
You are a living soul, family.
yeah,
Okay.
that is social construct, not
Oh
not
man,
not regarded over here.
that is hilarious. All right, now I needed that. Talking about just kidding, guys. I hear you.
Yeah,
They
but
showing love, Ashley. Congratulations, sweetheart. That is a big win. That is enormous.
well, appreciate all of your energy. I have to sign off now because I gave a specific timeline for myself today. But we will be back at it again next week. May even pop back in later this week on another day just to give y'all a free opportunity at our leisure. But again, if you would like a private consult, always reach out to Coach or to myself, and we can dive a little bit more in depth into some understanding. That's what we want, is understanding.
Lots of
Absolutely.
understanding, guys.
Thank you for your attention. That is the energy you have paid to get me to speak a little bit more, to talk about stuff that is private, but for your fulfillment, I've spoken about it openly, plainly, because it's not a secret. It is just a matter of
Okay. Understanding. Yeah.
relationships. What is your relationship to yourself and to what you're being provided? No, we are not sovereign citizens. We don't subscribe to any propaganda in that aspect. You cannot be both a sovereign and a citizen. And on that note, I will be signing off.
I got you, brother. Enjoy the
Yes,
rest of your night.
peace.
Peace. All right, family. So before I head off of here, the link is in the bio if you guys want to become students. I think we have 20 more slots left for you guys to, become students and then go through the process. Just because we're going through the administrative process right now at the ground level, and it'll be best if you guys could get into that. And yes, you can have a consultation. Just send me a message, ask about the consultation. I'll let you know how we can set that up, and we can do it as early as tomorrow at 12 o'clock. We're doing between 12 and 3. So if that's something that you're interested in, we can definitely go that route. How do you join as a student? The link is in my bio. Click on that link. It'll take you directly to becoming a general member, a silver member, or a gold member. You want to become a gold member for the live classes. And the live classes, we have recordings of our older classes so that you guys can catch up. We also have a private telegram that you guys can join. And, all of our students that are in there learning now, it will help bring you up to par, as well as Sam and I, because you'll get those one-on-ones. And if you pass our test at the end of the month, we help you through an administrative process with one of your obligations so that you can learn exactly how to do that. And you guys will be able to get out of all of your obligations. And then from there, you get to work your way up to the private banking side of things so that you can kind of maneuver in a better way. You can see the mansions. You can go and see the supercars. Like, that's an elevated way of life that takes time. You're not going to be able to just get straight to that without proper understanding, because that's something you have to earn. That's something that the Most High understands that you deserve. You deserve to move these ways and put this knowledge out and work within your village. Okay? And this is what we want to inspire out of you guys. We want to inspire it out of you. And that's why we're putting out the information now. So you hit the link, you become a student, leave us a message in the Patreon, and we'll give you a call, and we're gonna work some things out with you. Gonna let you know how this actually works verbatim, and you'll always have access to us. You also always have access to the students, and it's extremely fun once you get beyond the I want this phase. You want to get to the I understand this phase. I like the journey phase, because that's where a lot of this stuff derives from. We have lost sight of how to be and how to become. Okay, so you have to become in order to be in the first place. All right, and that becoming phase is learning. You have to learn who you are. You have to learn what this commerce these commerce waters look like. You got to know who the pirates are. You got to know how to stand on your square like Miss Ashley did. Okay, like, these things matter. They truly matter. All right. End of the month, help us make a move that makes money. Yeah, yeah. If you pass the test, for sure. End of the month, you'll help us make a move that makes money. That's Miss Ashley. Look, y'all need to follow Miss Ashley as well. Get into it. I feel like she's already ready to get into the private banking side of things. We start that up next month, so I'll be letting you guys know about that. If you are already, if you have a bill or two, we're gonna want you to get out of those bills. Private bankers can't have obligations. All right. So, in all honesty, family, I've been teaching since about 6 p.m. Central Time, and you know, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to sign off. But you guys can send me messages and ask me, whatever questions you have about, at this point, consultations or becoming a student, and then from there we'll deal with those who want to pledge their energy properly within themselves, so that we can make this work. And I'll probably be back on live tomorrow, kicking some more game to you guys. So, all in all, family, I hope this helps. I love you. Peace.